warm welcome to today's edition of Money Moves. I am Melissa Enoch here at the FMDQ studios in Lagos.
It's Thursday, the 6th of November. We thank you for joining us at this time on the show.
All right, let's begin with your news now. Safaricom has posted strong half-year results, recording a 55% surge in profit to 65.2 billion Kenyan shillings for the 6 months ended September 2025. The performance was driven by robust operations in Kenya and lower losses in Ethiopia. Group service revenue also grew by over 11%, with the company maintaining its full-year outlook. Here are excerpts.
Safaricom Kenya achieved 194 billion Kenya shillings in service revenue. I repeat that, 194 billion Kenya shillings in service revenue, which is a growth of 9.3% year-on-year. Earnings before interest and taxes, which is EBIT, grew 13.1% to 89.5 billion, and net income grew 22.6% to 58.2 billion Kenya shillings. And this came off a high growth in the previous year, which was also double-digit. So we are very pleased with the outcome for the Kenya performance. Let's clap for the business. In Ethiopia, currency reforms are starting to create a more liquid market. Losses in our business have reduced by 20% year-on-year to 15.5 billion as the business matures, even as pricing and currency reform challenges persist. It is important to note the bill depreciation against major currencies of both the US dollar and the euro contributed about a third of the Ethiopian net losses. At group level, the growth is very impressive. Service revenue grew by 11.1% to close at 200 billion Kenya.
In Egypt, Standard Bank Group, Africa's largest financial institution by assets, will officially launch its representative office in Egypt on November 12, 2025, marking a major step in its North Africa expansion strategy. The new Cairo office highlights the group's commitment to strengthening cross-border trade and investment flows between Egypt, the Gulf region, and sub-Saharan Africa. In other news, the Road to COP30 conference is underway, exploring how trade policy and climate action can work hand in hand to drive sustainable development. Under the theme, promoting a symbiotic relationship between trade policy and climate action, experts, policymakers, and industry leaders are discussing how to align economic growth with environmental responsibility.
The African continent contributes the least to global emissions, yet they suffer the most from climate impacts. Yet we also remain marginalized in the global trade, where we account barely 2% of the world trade. And we have to remember that most of the minerals and resources that power the global green transition are found here. But unless the trade and investment frameworks change, we'll continue to be marginalized and will continue to transact these minerals under unequal terms and deepen dependence instead of driving green industrial transformation. In Siatini, we have continuously advocated for a number of issues. One, we advocate for policy space for African countries to use trade and related policies to foster green industrialization and a just energy transition. Two, we advocate also for inclusive multilateralism that ensures that global trade rules, including those at the WTO, support rather than restrict the developmental and climate priorities of the Global South. We also advocate for regional approaches, such as the African Continental Free Trade Area, the CFTA, that can build shared capacity, resilience, and a collective voice in shaping a fairer global trade and climate architecture.
In Tanzania, the nation has lost over $238 million following a week-long internet outage that disrupted trade, digital services, and mobile payments. The blackout, which came ahead of the general election, follows the suspension of X, formerly Twitter, since May 2025. Digital rights group, including Paradigm Initiative, condemned the shutdown as a violation of human and economic rights, while analysts warn it could undermine digital transformation and investor confidence across Africa. In Uganda, the annual Financial Inclusion Forum has opened in Uganda, bringing together policymakers, financial institutions, and development partners to drive the next phase of inclusive growth, focusing on how to move from access to active usage of financial services. The forum explores ways to deepen digital access and improve financial literacy for all Ugandans. Let's listen to Augustus Nuwagaba, Deputy Governor, Central Bank of Uganda.
Now, in terms of inclusive finance as a catalyst for shared prosperity, Honorable Minister, financial inclusion is more than opening an account. It should enable people to participate fully in economic activity, and in a country where women, youth, persons with disability, refugees, and rural communities continue to face barriers, we need to do something here. I have been working before the president brought me to this central bank. Minister, I was working in fragile states. Up to now, my office in Somalia, I haven't closed it. I've been working in Somalia, Central African Republic, Guinea-Bissau, South Sudan. By the time the president appointed me, I was going to Libya. So the African Development Bank had requested me to help these African countries, to the ones which are not really proper monetized economies, to help them. And you need to see one country which is very interesting, and this is Somalia. In Somalia, if I can, because I'm still working with them, helping them, in Somalia we don't have money, this money you have in the pocket. No one has anything called money. Somalia, 150%, my minister, is digital money. It's digital money, for different reasons, of course. There are two countries in the world whose currency is digital. The Somalia and the Netherlands, of course, for different reasons, both of them. Those who have been moving and bothered with international political economy.
In Cameroon, Samba Assurances Gabon, Central Africa's first CIMA-licensed micro-insurer, plans to establish a Cameroon subsidiary in 2026. The announcement was made by Dr. Andrew Crepin Wardog, CEO of Samba Finances Holding, following a meeting in Gabon with Financial House Cameroon, led by Managing Director Yves Armand Tortillo. The two companies agreed to create Samba Assurances Cameroon SA, with Financial House set to exclusively distribute Samba products nationwide. Finally, on News Now, global asset manager 91 will list 2 actively managed exchange-traded funds, ETFs, on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange on November 12, 2025. The Diversified Income ETF and Global Diversified Income ETF, modeled on 91's existing unit trust, target steady income and capital preservation. 91's actively managed ETF strategy lead, Trinisha Chanka, said the funds are designed to offer investors stability and returns above cash in uncertain markets. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now this Thursday. The show returns shortly with Grace at the FMDQ Archives Room with our Markets Round. Welcome back to Money Moves. Let's now go over to Grace for today's market review. Hello there, Grace.
Thank you, Melissa. Let's now track how the markets are wrapping up today, starting off with the equities. The African equities were mostly positive today. In Nigeria, the NGX All-Share Index closed on the negative, down 0.36%, while the BROVM advanced 0.49% to 336.21. The Nairobi Securities Exchange gained 1.59% to 192.89. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange also gained 1.12%, while in North Africa, the EGX 30 advanced 2.09%. Let's do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The Rand strengthened 0.23% to 17.37, while the Egyptian Pound firmed 0.12%. The CFA franc appreciated 0.22% to 569.23, and the Naira strengthened 0.13% to 1,438 Naira 15 kobo. The Moroccan dirham edged 0.19%, while the Kenyan shilling was unchanged at 129.20. Let's switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Brent crude gained 0.66% to $63.93, while WTI rose 0.81% to $60.07. Natural gas increased 1.80% to $4.30, and Arabian gasoline jumped 2.77% as of 12:50 GMT. And finally, two metals prices. Gold advanced 0.63% to $4,017, and copper rose 0.70%. Platinum edged 0.33% higher to $1,567.80, while aluminium slipped 1.18%. Iron ore gained 0.20% to $104.73 at Wednesday's close. And that's our Money Moves markets today. Back to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those market updates. And that's it on today's edition of Money Moves. From me and the rest of the team here at the studios, we say thank you very much for watching and bye for now.